This is a product that I'm extremely excited to have. It's a NewAir cooler model EC300W. It's a 2-in-1, it's a fan and a evaporative cooler. And this is gonna work great in Vegas because we are running between 20 and 30 humidity usually. It arrived a little bit ahead of its time, but I'm getting ready for the season, so it's time to buy. Very nice packaging. The unit is ready to come out. Wow, I've been using swamp coolers for quite a while, but this is the prettiest I've ever had. It has one of those Apple feels to it, you know, like an Apple product. It just looks so nicely designed with white plastic, with black plastic. This looks awesome. I can't wait to turn it on. It has all kinds of buttons. This is gonna be cool. But first, always read the instructions, because if you screw it up and it doesn't work, it's your fault. These things look like they are put together very nice. You took it out of the box, you don't feel like reading the manual, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. So the unit here on the side, it has a little blocker. This blocker has to come off, so it's a little plastic piece that you remove. What this one does, this one drops or raises the water pump. So the water pump, it will drop or raise with this. In this case, I'm going to show you what it does when it's in. I put the blocker back on so I can show you where the pump is. This little latch will remove the bottom. You have exactly the same latch on the other side. By the way, I love the wheels that it's running on. It's very nice and smooth. And now the top comes off. And this is the bucket at the bottom that it has a maximum and a minimum level. This is where the water stays. This is where the water stays for the evaporative part. This is the pump. This blocker keeps the pump safe, so the pump can be lowered. So when I'm pulling this lever, you will see that the pump comes down, and this is the water pump that sucks the water through the pads to give you better cooling. To prevent damage to the pump, you could retract it up here, and then this is a little stopper that when you are working, the pump doesn't go all over the place. You might want to save this. You could fill up the water in the bucket. Don't go over the maximum, so you could fill up this bucket with the water, or you could fill it from the top. Here at the top, you could fill the unit by removing this little lid, and then if you look inside, you could just put water in here and it will automatically dribble all the way down and it will fill up the bucket. If you don't want to wait for the water to be filled from here, you could fill up the bucket directly at the bottom. But if this unit is already sitting in your room and you just want to add another gallon of water or something like that, you could just add it from here and it will automatically go towards the bottom. Always keep an eye on the maximum. You don't want to overfill it. If you overfill it, what's going to happen is going to go over and it's going to spill from this side, and that will not be good. It's part of the instructions. You have to follow the instructions. Never go over the maximum. You can use normal tap water in the unit. The chlor and the chlorine might smell a little bit when you first start the unit. That is normal. I am using purified drinking water or distilled water. The reason that I'm doing that is here in Vegas, the water is very, very hard. And if you are going to use that kind of a water, you will have to replace this pad over here a little bit more often than you would do if you use purified drinking water. If you don't want to spend 50 cents, because this costs 50 cents at Winco, if you don't want to spend 50 cents for water, that is your choice. You could just use tap water, but you might have to replace that little pad a little bit more often if your water is hard. If you live somewhere where the water is not hard and you don't have any problems, and then you will be able to run this unit with the tap water. Here in Vegas, the water is extremely hard. It's one of the hardest waters in the country, and therefore I prefer to use purified drinking water. It's very, very cheap, and then is going to work very, very well with this unit. So here we go. We're going to fill it up from the top today. So I'm just going to pour this in here. And this should accumulate towards the bottom. I'm only going to start with 1 gallon today. And then you could see you could fill it up fairly fast here from the top. Make sure you don't overflow, right? But it will go all the way towards the bottom. And you can hear it, that it's already going here. And it's at the minimum. Almost going towards passing the minimum. So it will take, this bucket will take, I'm estimating, about maybe 10 gallons. I love the fact that it has wheels and it's so easy to push around and just take it wherever you want. Also, it has these little locks, so you could lock the wheels so they don't, it doesn't move. It also travels fairly well on carpet. My carpet is a fairly deep carpet, so you might want to always keep an eye on it. Don't push it from the top because it will tip over. You might want to push it from the sides or pull it from the sides. More water you have, more stable it's going to be at the bottom. My wife will love this thing because she goes through the night with all kinds of heat cycles, and it comes with a little remote. You could actuate the unit from the little remote, so she will be able to switch it on and off if she wants to, while I am a little bit more tolerant to heat. How it's going to help me is the fact that this one is going to bring humidity back into the house. Here in Las Vegas at 20% humidity, sometimes 10% humidity, you get bloody, dry noses from sleeping at night in very, very dry environment, where this unit not only will cool off the room and save us on our power bills for the AC, but also it will bring that all wanted humidity back into the room. So if you live in Arizona, in parts of California, in Utah or southern Utah, in Nevada, or any other state in the United States where the air is very, very dry, this will work absolutely great. The cable is nice and long. I'm going to plug it in. You have easy controls on the top. You also have a remote. Before you turn it on, remember to lower your water pump into the water, so that way the water gets sucked in from the bucket through here, through the pad, so it gives you the evaporative effect also. To turn it on, you push the on button, and it has several modes. It has whisper quiet, speed 1, 2, and 3. Whisper quiet is really, really nice because it is literally whisper quiet. It's on right now and you can barely hear it. Once you turn it on, there's a couple of effects that this one has. This will turn on, either you want the evaporative part to run or not. So if you push this button, it will turn the water pump. Remember the water pump that we lowered here? It will turn the water pump. Don't forget to lower the water pump into the bucket so the pad in the back can get wet. Also, it has a oscillator over here. So if you turn this one on, what's gonna happen, there's two little wings over here that are moving left to right, so it oscillates the air in the room and it makes the room go either left or right, so it covers more of the room. If you turn it off, stop those little winglets to just push the air into one direction. So if the best thing to be, I think, is to just have those little winglets running all the time. I already explained to you these little things that you have over here. This is the speed. So this is how quiet it is right now. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you listen. Speed number 1, speed number 2, and speed number 3. Keep in mind, I'm right in front of it. If you ask me, my favorite by far already is the whisper quiet. And this is something that I think my wife would absolutely love. There's a little button in the corner where it shows you a little wave, a little forest tree, and some kind of a moon. What this one does, it's creating an environment. So it varies the speed for the turbine to make it sound like it's a windy night or you are in a forest. So I'm going to switch it to forest and you're going to hear it. It's going to start really, really loud and then it's going to vary as far as the noise goes, so it sounds like there's a windy day outside. I swear, it sounds exactly like the wind in the forest. Like when you have a windy night, like those trees, you see how they're bouncing like that? You could get confused by this thing thinking that is the wind outside making the noise. Now that is pretty cool. Let's talk performance. This is a heat gun. To be able to get the maximum out of the unit, you have to let it run for about 15 minutes. So the pad in the back, not only that it gets wet, but also the water in the bowl will chill. The evaporation process, what it does, is strips the heat out of the water, and then what that does, it's creating a cooler effect than just having a normal fan. So that's what the evaporation process and how the process works. To reach its maximum cooling power, you need to let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes running with the pump on. Don't forget the pump, don't forget to put it down. Make sure that the water runs through the pad. You will see the pad, it will change color. The pad will change color, will get a little bit more darker green, is because now it's nice and wet. Also, it takes a little bit for time for the water inside the bucket to cool off. After about 15 minutes, you will be able to test to see what is the difference between the air in the room and the air that this unit puts in. So right now I have a little heat gun over here. This heat gun tells me what is the ambient temperature in the room. It's an approximation, but it's about 68 degrees. And this is the air that is coming out of the unit right now. So it's 62 degrees. And it only passed about 5 minutes since I turned the unit on. So it's not at full cooling power yet. This is almost the end of the first video. I'm going to bring you more videos with this unit to see how it lasts and how it holds. So I'm going to put the icons here on the side towards the end of this video. You might want to watch that. Also, I'm going to come back with my heat gun and test out this unit after it's running for a half an hour or so to see how much cooling it's going on inside. But so far I absolutely like this one. It's one of the most advanced swamp coolers that I've ever seen, and I hate to use the name swamp cooler because it sounds so trashy. It is an evaporative cooler, and you should have one of these because it really completely makes sense into any dry environment. If you live somewhere where there is humidity in the air, the fan part is still going to work for you. But if you live somewhere like I do in Las Vegas, where the air is extremely dry, this will save you hundreds. It will pay itself off in a couple of months of electrical bill, because you could keep your bedroom a little bit cooler, keep the rest of the house a little bit higher, save $40–50 every month on your power bill, and then still sleep cool. And not only in cool environment, but also an environment that is a little bit more humid. Therefore, you don't suffer from the problems that we, the people that live here in the side of this country, suffer from dry nose, dry air. So absolutely I would recommend every room in your house to have one of these where somebody's sleeping in it. It will save you power, money, and it will pay itself off in a couple of months. I'm not kidding.